So today I have come to have a discussion in regards to how amazing the United States of America is for everyone who lives here, including migrants, immigrants, whatever terminology you want to use. And one specific person comes to mind, and that's Mr. Ian Roberts. I'm sure this is a name that has almost become a household name over the last couple of weeks. And just stick around. There are going to be things that you probably didn't know, and at the very least, it's going to be entertaining.
Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Stephanie Angleson. We begin tonight with major developments surrounding former DMPS Superintendent Dr. Ian Roberts. We are now learning more about where he is, a new federal charge he's facing, and a potential lawsuit from one of Roberts' former school districts. There's also a new call by an Iowa State Senator for the State Board of Education to take over the Des Moines Public School District. We have team coverage here in studio and in Des Moines as this story continues to develop. A criminal complaint against Roberts has been accepted by a magistrate judge in federal court. He's now facing a charge related to the illegal possession of 4 firearms. Local 5's JD Snover is here to break down that new information provided in these documents.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Stephanie. Federal court documents show some consistencies with previous claims made by immigration officials, such as stating Roberts entered the country legally through a student visa in 1999, and that visa then...
There's something I got to talk about. I was debating whether to say anything. Him having 4 firearms illegally, it ties in all these. There's so many of these different aspects of this country that are interlocked, that are the main focal points for both parties right now, for both main parties, and gun control being one of them, crime, immigration, stuff like that, and those all three tie together quite cohesively. I mean, this man, he came to the country legally and overstayed his welcome, refused to leave, and still managed to acquire four firearms. Didn't care about the law at all, because the law is not harsh enough. So, this is case in point.
Expired in 2004, the same documents say during that period he applied for permanent citizenship but was denied. Over 20 years of immigration battles involving Ian Roberts came to a close last Friday when he was detained by ICE officers. New court documents alleged the officials were dressed in clearly defined ICE uniforms, approached him, and he ran, eventually hiding in a Southside mobile home park. Officers say inside the car, a loaded handgun. Roberts is now facing a charge of being an illegal immigrant in possession of a firearm after federal authorities claim a same-day search of his home led to the seizure of 3 more guns. According to the documents, Roberts had filed for permanent residency multiple more times, including after marrying an American citizen. But that particular attempt was denied because Roberts didn't respond to a request for additional information. The handgun seized at the scene of the detainment, however, was traced back to his wife and registered to her in Arkansas, according to the documents. Roberts was ordered removed by a federal judge in May of 2024. He appealed but was denied because the judge did not find evidence that he did not receive the notice of the removal. According to the complaint, the order of removal was found in a car at his home during the same-day search.
Okay, so I wanted to start off with the aftermath, with the repercussions of his decisions first before moving into what got him here. You're going to learn this gentleman's been in the country, as I said, as we have learned already in this respect, since 99, which was under Clinton's administration. And he was here legally. And a lot of times I've seen this happen before, where the people overstay their visas. I've worked with people that's happened to. So it's a common occurrence. But what this man was able to amass while he was here, it's a testament to how great this country is and the opportunities that are here for everybody. When someone who can come in here from a completely different country and climb the quote unquote corporate ladder, as he did, uh, in the educational realm. Was a principal, then became a superintendent of a large district in Iowa, amassing a $300,000 a year job. And you're going to later find out how he did this. You know, it kind of makes, hard work seem pointless in a way, even though it's not. I know a lot of people will get that from this because he just flat out lies about every aspect of his entire existence, his schooling, everything. He's not even a doctor. That's why I don't refer to him as one. He holds no doctorate. He says he got it from some online school like Phoenix or something, Phoenix Online or whatever it is. But I mean, the man's, he's a criminal. He overstayed his welcome. He has firearms in his possession he's not supposed to have. He's supposed to have already left the country. He's been denied citizenship 4 times, I believe is what they said. And he's still here. This is a very common occurrence. So, but he proves that how systemically racist this country isn't. That it doesn't matter. He's a black man. He's black. Look what he accomplished. Apparently, he's intelligent. He's a very intelligent individual, obviously. To have been here this long and acquired what he has as far as success goes, but it's still it still came down to the same. It's still the same ending because he was breaking the law. So. That's what it's going to get you. That's where you're at. So,
another round of allegations is surfacing against Ian Roberts, the former Iowa superintendent arrested by ICE agents last Friday. Roberts was hired at multiple school systems across the country, despite having criminal charges and deportation orders. On his 2023 job application obtained by the Associated Press, Roberts falsely claimed to have had a doctorate in urban education leadership from Morgan State University. The university confirmed he never completed that program. Roberts is also accused of registering to vote in Maryland. His name, birthday, and address appears active on public voter rolls, though state election officials say records do not show a voting history.
And as we know, Roberts also spent nearly 8 years working for Baltimore City schools. New tonight, we're learning he's been accused of pressuring teachers to change students' grades while serving as a Baltimore principal. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor live with some of the details of this for us. Rebecca.
Yeah, Mary, as if this list of allegations wasn't long enough already, Roberts is now being tied to Baltimore City's long-standing grade-changing scandal.
As the controversies surrounding Ian Roberts continue making headlines nationwide, tonight, Fox 45 uncovering an old lawsuit revealing new allegations stemming back to his time with Baltimore City schools. While serving as the principal at Friendship Academy of Science and Technology, a teacher accusing him of pressuring staff to improve students' grades without cause, even for classes they never attended. The teacher, who was later fired, suing the school system and Roberts for wrongful termination. The lawsuit alleging Dr. Roberts' actions were meant to make a failing school appear successful. That was back in 2009, but the lawsuit wasn't filed until 2013. In turn, the school system successfully arguing the statute of limitations had run out. BCPS also claiming the teacher harassed and threatened school leaders, including delivering a bat to the HR department with a letter reading in part, "I hope it feels good to beat a teacher." Another message reading, "This is why children are not learning."
all right, in these next couple of clips, you're going to see a major contradiction in the juxtaposition of the same side. These are both leftist sides and their opinions of this man. And as the truth comes out, one who's facing the truth, who sees it for what it is, and is willing to speak on it, and the other group of people who still want to keep perpetuating the BS and pointing fingers and placing blame elsewhere and lacking zero accountability and blaming it on this crap that just continues to steamroll over these people and their emotions with any form of bigotry that they feel that they can grab a hold of and point out. That's what they attribute everything to, because this man's black, because he ended up with drug charges, and that's what really stopped the whole process of him becoming an American citizen. Is he ended up with drug charges shortly after he got here, and you get to see how people they'll still defend the criminals because of the color of their skin. And I think a dash of white guilt, because it's a white guy that is is just talking craziness. It's pretty crazy. But here we go. Let's kick it off.
Her 52-year-old Ian Roberts was taken into custody by the Justice Department yesterday. 52-year-old Ian Roberts was taken into custody by the Justice Department yesterday on firearms charges, and this is after his arrest by ICE agents last week revealed he was living and working in the U.S. illegally. Joining us right now to discuss is Defending Education's Director of Outreach, Erica Sandsey. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan.
You know, so much information has now come out. I feel like there's something new every single day on this case. The New York Post now reporting that Roberts was a, quote, pathological liar who never attended MIT, who was the subject of a couple of sex discrimination lawsuits. I know you guys have also done some digging as well. What have you learned?
This is going to be a movie, I think, because there is so much drama.
And see, here's the issue that I'm having with that. Like, how did they not know about this stuff beforehand? Everyone ends up with a background check, especially when you're in a job where you're dealing with children. They do a pretty extensive background check. Any kind of healthcare or educational job anywhere in that workforce of those two regions, it's an extensive background check, and they completely failed. They failed. The school either failed, or these schools failed because they didn't want the problems of being labeled racists and bigots and all this ridiculous crap, or the companies that they were hiring didn't want to deal with that. And this is where DEI is failing, because it's not being utilized as it's supposed to be, as it was designed to be used. And most of it primarily is being used, and the metrics are based off of what you look like. And that's why it's failed. That's why people have a problem with it, because of how it's being utilized improperly.
Unfolding. The MIT thing, for example, was new. I knew that he had a ton of claims about educational institutions, but what I wasn't aware of was that he also was making claims that he was going to be attending, I believe, MIT, and I think also maybe Harvard Graduate School of Education. So just a pathological liar. But I mean, major problems here. He lied on his I-9 form about being a citizen. He is registered to vote in Maryland, where he doesn't live, and also he's here illegally.
And there you go. There's a huge problem in this situation. This man who is here illegally, who was essentially told to leave the country last year under Biden's watch at the helm of the White House, or whatever, not really at the helm, but you know what I'm saying. Had been denied citizenship multiple times, and this man is as a registered Democrat. This is why voter ID is a necessity. ID and identification, verification of citizenship is 100% a necessity. Because time and time again, it is proven that there are people who are voting in our elections that should not be. They haven't earned that right. not because they're a human being. It doesn't give them the right to vote in this country at all. If you're not a citizen, you have no stake in this place. If you're not vested in this country as a citizen of this country, then that's not a privilege you should have. Now, they also say that they claim that there's no record of him ever actually voting. I'm calling BS on all the other stuff. Just look at the rationale behind that. This man has climbed the corporate ladder in the educational field and amassed a job, six-figure job. Most of us, I've never earned that much. It's never been a possibility. I work now presently 70 to 80 hours a week. Barely break 60 grand working that much. Anywhere from 250 to 350 hours a month. I have education. I'm not inept and I'm not mentally failing like most people. And this man has acquired all of this wealth and stature, and you're trying to tell me through all these lies at the time he's been here, you're trying to say he's never voted. See, that's why that's crap, because they're worried about their integrity of elections. When it's been proven time and time again, there have been illegal immigrants voting in our elections, from state to federal. Voter ID is a necessity. See, it's something else that ties into this. One of these big, it's a racist. It's, voter ID and voter registration is racism. BS. It's because that's what they want. That's what Democrats want. That's why Biden was opening. That's why he opened the border up. To pad the numbers, to sandbox or sandbag voters for the Democratic Party. So I don't buy that he never voted in any elections at all. I think that's absolute crap and it's a lie. So let's continue.
Roberts, the Des Moines superintendent that was detained by ICE, is a victim of systemic racism in the United States. It was a drug charge in the 90s that effectively eliminated his chance of getting a permanent resident card, let alone citizenship in this country. The very existence and enforcement of those drug laws is an example of how systemic racism operates in this country in ways that might seem non-race related, non-race intended, but yet the way that they're enforced, the actual impact of these laws, is extraordinarily disproportionate. Ian Roberts may not have been the man he was claiming to be. He may not have had the credentials he claimed to have. He may not have been legally working in the United States. There are issues that need to be looked into around how that happened. But the fact is, the systemic racism was what really got into his way when he was young. And at this point, the data is so clear, the data is so overwhelming that I don't understand how people can deny the existence of systemic racism. But I know if any of y'all MAGA that are watched this far, you're going to do it right now.
All right, and there you go. Like I said, you have people on either side of this issue standing their ground in two different ways. You have the ones who accept it, who see it for what it is, whether they were participants in it prior, they have since changed their tune at the very least. Then you have this guy, once again, blaming it on something altogether, removing any accountability from Mr. Roberts. Systemic racism, 100%. A drug charge, the laws that, disproportionately, punish people of color, so they say. I'll share a little bit with you guys. I'm a recovered addict off of methamphetamine. I went to jail. I didn't even mess that stuff till I was 37 years old. Had already almost fully raised 3 children. Had worked 2 different successful careers. and was just miserable human being. But anyways, went to jail, was separated from my family. The conditions were not favorable because it's jail. It's not supposed to be favorable, but it was all my fault. Every bit of it was my fault. I got everything I deserved. I went to jail and was on probation. I actually got probation a year and a half early, because I didn't mess up again, obviously. First drug offense ever. I actually caught 2 felonies because I was homeless after that and missed my final sentencing court date and caught a bail jumping charge as well. Because I thought it was the following month in December, and it ended up not being. It was back in 2019. Coming up on 6 years being clean and sober. But it was all my fault. You got this jackhole over here with his white guilt, his white guilt or whatever, trying to make excuses for Mr. Roberts, how he's breaking the law. Broke the law multiple times. Knew better. He clearly wasn't stupid, as I spoke on earlier, to accomplish what he did while he was here in this country. And he knew very well what he was doing. And people like this defending and trying to give too much grace. Now, I don't have a problem with immigrants coming over here at all. None. Doesn't bother me. I've worked with many people from south of the border, from all different countries. Like I said, one of the careers I was in was tree trimmer, and I worked with a lot of Hispanic people. I worked with a lot of Hispanic people growing up in tobacco patches, hay fields, good, hardworking Latino, whatever terminology you want to use. They're good people. And a lot of them, they're over here just because they are trying to provide a better life for their family. And I'm 100% in support of that. I think they should be allowed to stay, pay taxes, participate in being a citizen of the United States, earn citizenship to acquire the privileges and benefits of being a citizen of this country. 100% on board with it. Don't think they should be deported. Maybe pay a fine because they broke the law and came here illegally. I've had to pay fines for breaking the law. Everyone has, and you break the law. You have to pay something to the courts. No different. Welcome to America. But making excuses for this man because of the color of his skin, that's weak. That's weakness. That perpetuates the ridiculousness and people thinking that they're entitled to stuff here in this country. You're not entitled to anything. That's the way I was raised. I wasn't entitled to anything. I'm not entitled to handouts and to free anything. If I want it, I work for it. You want more, you do more. You want better, you do better. That's literally the way. That's the easiest formula there is to succeed at life. Put forth the effort. So, it's funny, people freaking out over Trump and the deportation, which of course he just smacks the country in the face with it. He doesn't try to hide it like the previous presidents, but he is a fraction of deportations out of a lot of our presidents. Bill Clinton, for one, had over 12 million in his 2 terms, which is funny because they called Obama the deporter in chief, but he only amassed just over 5, like almost about 5.2, 5.3 million deportations in his terms, which I don't see how he acquired that nickname. And you got George W. Bush, Jr. had over 10 million during both his terms. Everyone is acting like what Trump's doing is just abhorrent. It's it's lacking empathy and humanity. It's a crime against humanity. It's a joke. That's a joke. It's because it's Trump. It's because his name is Donald Trump. His first term was he deported just over 2 million, literally just over 2 million, not much, just a fraction over 2 million people, because he kept getting stopped because he didn't control the House and the Senate. But he learned. He's a very smart person. He learned, and he came back this time very knowledgeable, very wise to the ways of DC and the swamp. And he brought a lot of the things that Democrats used to run on with him when he left the Democratic Party. And that is really the main reason they hate that man. It's not because he's Hitler. Because he broke laws? Yeah. They all have. They're all politicians are crooked. He's become a politician in certain ways. It's just unfortunate. It's an unfortunate part of that realm, of that world. But for everyone to be up in arms over something that every president has done in the last 30, 50, 40, 50 years, deporting people and having our borders secure. It's our country. Everyone's like, well, we took it. The white man took this country. You know how many countries have been conquered by everybody, not just white people? All of them, every single one of them in the world has been taken over by somebody else. Somehow, some way, at some point in time. So stop your whining. Just shut up, is what I say. Deal with it. It's life. It's in the past. I'm an American. I have no guilt about what my ancestors did or did not do. That's in the past. That is not me. I'm most assuredly not racist or a misogynist. Wasn't raised to be that crap. I do have absolute pride and conviction when it comes to my country and protecting it. And I'm happy with the skin color I was born to. So, oh well. If you got a problem with that, you can, I don't know what to tell you, find a hobby. So, anyways, like I said, I'm sure there's some things that you guys didn't know, and hopefully you continue to watch and have made it to this part in my video and have walked this path with me for this short stint. And like I said, at the very least, we're entertained. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.